Welcome to everyone who is here. Like I said, I recognized some of the names in the list. I'm so happy to have some of you here. We even have a few current CTEC ASTs who have joined us. It's great to have you here as a testament to this program and the successes that it will bring. Greetings from Kansas City, Missouri, right in the middle of the United States. That's where I am today, here in my home. It was a few years ago, I believe 5 years ago, that some coffee technicians and some representatives from coffee machine manufacturers gathered right here in Kansas City to form and set the foundation for what became the Coffee Technicians Guild in the Specialty Coffee Association. From the first moment that this group got together, education was the top priority from the very beginning. This is a group of coffee professionals who support the entire supply chain. Long overdue for us to be where we are having these kinds of professional development opportunities for those who are interested in coffee technology. From the very beginning, the Coffee Technicians Guild championed and advocated for the creation of some sort of education program, some kind of universally recognized and sanctioned program to help us have a better, more effective coffee technology support community to support a sustainable coffee industry. And that's what brings us here today. Their efforts led to the creation of this program and investment in this program. And I could not be more excited. I myself have owned a coffee roasting company and retailer prior to joining the SCA. And between those, I had the chance to help open one of the earliest premier training campuses and worked for a coffee technician service provider here in Kansas City, Marty Rowe at Workbench Coffee Labs. I have a soft spot in my heart for those who keep our equipment running. I think that they are so important, and I'm excited that we have this program to offer. Now, many of you have joined this call because you are interested in being one of the trainers in this program. But there also may be several of you who are interested in learning more about the Coffee Technicians program. For both audiences, I'm going to spend a third of today's session talking about the program itself. I may not go into as much detail as I would if I was speaking to a learner for the sake of time, but I am going to give you a nice overview of the structure of the program, the goals of the program, and some of what a learner might expect from the different levels and courses within the program. Then I'm going to talk about our current selection and invitation process for identifying qualified, authorized SCA trainers to deliver this program. So I'm going to talk about the process itself. Then we're going to dive into the details of the application itself. That way, before you go through the process of completing the application, you will know what information that you need to gather first and what will be expected from you in that application. So, by the end of this session, you should be able to speak knowledgeably about all of these things. I'm going to continue through the entire presentation all at once, and we will save our questions towards the end. Some of you may pose a question that's about your particular situation, or you want some advice about how best for you to submit the application. Some of those we may gather, and I may contact you after the session. Kimberly is going to help me identify questions that would benefit the entire group, and those will be the ones that we address. But none of them will go unanswered. They'll either be answered here or I will contact you directly. This session is just the beginning of a conversation. It is not the beginning and the end. You're going to have my contact information given to you at the end or throughout this presentation, and we can continue the conversation as we go. Okay, so that's where we are. Let's get started with just a little bit of an overview of the Coffee Technicians program. And in order to discuss the Coffee Technicians program, we have to understand how certificate programs operate and their function in the Specialty Coffee Association. Our current model is one where curriculum writers, content creators, subject matter experts volunteer their time along with staff and extensions of staff to create a curriculum. The Specialty Coffee Association does not deliver courses in our certificate programs. Our product is a curriculum, assessments, so tests, a written and a practical test, and certificates. In order to get this curriculum and the concepts within and the assessments distributed globally, we rely on a network of authorized trainers in the program. So we create and manage a curriculum, tests, and certificates, which then are delivered by authorized trainers. They deliver those to learners. So we have these curriculum writers and content creators, and then the authorized trainers, which we call ASTs, and then the learners who receive that education. The learners receive a certificate. It's very important for everyone to understand that this is a certificate, skills-based training program. It is not a certification program. That word carries significant meanings in different countries when it comes to accreditation and certification to do specific tasks within regulations. And that's not what this is. For example, when you complete electrical foundation, intermediate, and professional, you are not an electrician, right? However, you have shown that you have mastered the learning objectives within the course of electrical concepts within the world of the coffee machine, right? So every learner receives a certificate at the end of a course. Then we have other levels of recognition. Since the Coffee Technicians program is new, some of those levels of recognition have not been determined yet, but there's all sorts of opportunity for people to be able to show that they have invested in professional development when it comes to coffee technology and the support of those coffee machines. So this program is modular. The concepts related to coffee technology, through a lot of conversation with subject matter experts and our friends in the leadership of the Coffee Technicians Guild and that community, have helped us identify the categories of information that are most relevant to those who support coffee machines. So it's broken down into modules. This program has 6 modules when it's fully complete. It will have 6 modules. First, hydraulics, the paths of water and everything that controls water as it moves into the machine and over the coffee grounds. Electrical, it's pretty self-explanatory, all of the electrical considerations that might be within that machine. Water and preventive maintenance. We all know the importance of water quality on the sensory aspects of coffee, the extraction of coffee, and also the life of our coffee machines, both the repair and disrepair of coffee machines. That's all contained in one model. Water quality and chemistry, also with preventive maintenance there. Then coffee machines. This is where someone would learn about the history of the coffee machine, types of coffee machine, application of different coffee machines along the way, operations management, technician workflow, wholesale distribution, warranty considerations, and then coffee preparation. Coffee technicians are a lot like piano technicians, where they are often expected to be able to fix and performance tune a machine, but then also know how to use it. And so we have that as well. You will notice that in each module, there are 3 levels of courses. I'm going to get into what you could expect from each level in just a moment. But as you can see, this is a large program. 6 modules, 3 courses each. However, this is not a program where you have to take everything. It's built to be customizable. I know what it's like to write the check when it comes to investing in staff development for my employees or myself. We wanted to make sure that this program was as rigorous, valuable, and customizable as it could be. And so, it's important to note that in this program, there are some core modules. This is going to come up in a moment when I talk about the licenses to participate in this program. Hydraulics, electrical, water, and preventive maintenance are the core modules of this program. Those are what are being developed first and the focus of the program. Hydraulics and electrical, we all know that a fair amount of the components in a coffee machine are electromechanical, right? And so there's a close relationship between those two. And we know the impact that water and preventive maintenance has on those components. These have a lot of relationship here. These modules are considered ancillary modules. When I explain how the licenses work for teaching these modules, this will become a little bit more clear. But these are modules that will be developed along the way, but we're putting all of our focus on the curriculum development in the core modules at the beginning of the program. Now, as I mentioned, this program is highly customizable. There will be cross-module prerequisites, but this structure allows the customer to determine what is the best path with advice from the authorized trainer for them to invest in as they go through the program. I receive 2 to 3 emails every day from learners who are interested in the coffee technicians program. And what is interesting is they're not all coffee technicians. Many are baristas or other employees along the supply chain that are looking for a different career step, and they want to see if this is right for them. Some are roasting company owners or retailers who want to either know more about the equipment that they have so that they can be better customers for their coffee technician service or do some self-repair. Others are large companies or manufacturers who want to offer more professional development to their employees who are current coffee technicians. There's a wide range of interest in this program, and that's why it is important that it be customizable. For example, if you were in a position where you have hired someone to join your company as a technician, and you recognize that they already have a fair amount of experience when it comes to electrical. They understand how to use a multimeter. They understand the difference between amperage and current and volts and those basic concepts. You may not want to invest more money in that. Maybe they even have a degree that involves electrical concepts. You may decide that it's more valuable to introduce them to the hydraulic components inside of a coffee machine, understanding those components, how they work, how they often fail, helping them understand water, Maybe they've never worked around coffee machines, and just getting a basic understanding of the history and development of coffee machines along the way. And then maybe just understanding how coffee extraction works. That may be something that you want to invest in. Or let's say that you've hired a barista that shows some tech, or you are a barista, or you've hired a barista and you've shown some technical ability and interest. There's no reason for us to spend any time teaching you about coffee preparation. You've got it, right? You also understand coffee machines. You've been around them. You're a fan, right? So the core modules may be the right path for you. Or let's say you run a small business and there's going to be somebody who's answering the phones, dispatching through email. You might want to invest in a different set of courses for them. They don't really need to understand hydraulics and electrical, but it would be good for them to understand the complete workings of operation management. It'd be helpful for them to understand coffee extraction, both brewed coffee and espresso, a basic familiarity with coffee machines, types, models, those things, and water and preventive maintenance. That might be exactly what you want to invest in for that person. So my point is, it's very flexible and modular in this program. At each level, we follow a basic, oh, my animation is not working. I can take you through this. At each level, you can expect a commonality of the foundation courses, the intermediate courses, and the professional courses. The foundation course is meant for someone who is brand new, someone off the street coming into this program. There is no prerequisite knowledge necessary to enter the foundation course. The whole point of the foundation course is for them to be able to understand and remember. For example, in hydraulics foundation, there is no reaching out and taking out of components. Right? There's not working on live equipment. It's about understanding the components, where they are. Maybe there's some out that they deal with, and identifying those components, basic hydraulic concepts, understanding pressure and temperature relationships, those kinds of things. So it's just about that. And then as they get into intermediate, start to learn how those components work together and how they fail. Then in professional, we start to do more fault finding and troubleshooting within those components and within those pathways, being to the point where you can really internalize and fine tune thermosiphon systems and pathways, understanding that and being prepared to recognize emerging technology. Someone who holds a professional certificate in hydraulics and electrical should be able to walk the show floor at Host Milano or the Specialty Coffee Association Expo or MICE or any of these events that we have and look at emerging technology, the newest technological advances, and be able to recognize what's being shown to them and ask great questions and analyze these new advances that come out. So you can expect that from each level. Hydraulics or foundation level courses, you could probably expect for them to be the equivalent of a 2-day course. In some cases, a 1-day course. It's going to be 1 or 2 days. You can expect intermediate to be equivalent to a 2 or 3-day course, and professional the same. A deeper dive into a course that is equivalent with some online and some in person, 2 to 3 days there. So again, understand and remember, apply and demonstrate, analyze and investigate. That's what you can expect from these levels as we move through them. So as I mentioned, it's a big program, and we need some exceptional people to help launch and deliver this program to learners. So I'm going to go back and explain in more detail as we move into the relationship between authorized trainers, the learners, and the SCA. So as I mentioned earlier, we have the products that we develop, being the curriculum, the tests, and the certificates. Sorry, I've got a, I hyperextended my pinky, so I've got it all taped up here. That's then delivered to the learners via authorized trainers, AST. So let's dive into and transition to discussing the role of the AST in this program. The authorized trainer purchases a license from the SCA to deliver this program. Okay? So they purchase a license from the SCA. It's a 3-year license, a 3-year commitment to be able to offer this. Many ASTs have the Specialty Coffee Association certificate program as one of the products that they sell. So they may have some of their own courses and educational products that they sell. They may have some from another organization, and then they have this as part of their portfolio. As I mentioned earlier, the SCA does not deliver these courses. Authorized trainers do. Authorized trainers are independent operators who comply with their license agreement and our codes of conduct and delivery standards, but they set their own tuition rates. Now, there is a program fee, an admin fee per learner that is collected by the AST and forwarded to the Specialty Coffee Association, but authorized trainers set their own schedule. Authorized trainers set their own tuition rates. They also design their own classroom experience. They are prepared with detailed information about the learning objectives, the assessments, how to conduct those practical exams, and what our expectations are for delivery. But in order to make this program accessible globally, trainers have the autonomy and the power to create their own lesson plans. This is why it's going to be important to see the qualifications that I'm going to tell you about in a little bit. So now, that fee that's remitted back to the SCA does a lot of good. It's not a closed system. That information or that revenue that's generated through a program does a lot of great things. One, we're distributing best practices in the support of coffee technology, creating a safer program, a safer group of people, and a system to support the entire industry. So you're delivering great information, you're helping with the professional development of those who come to your courses, and the revenue that's generated through these certificate programs support everything that the SCA does, or that the Specialty Coffee Association does. It supports the research we do. It supports the work that we do when it comes to promoting a more sustainable industry. It supports growing this program in more parts of the world. So you're doing a lot of good just by participating in this and providing this opportunity for learners. And so, hopefully you're sold on the idea of becoming a trainer. Now let's talk a little bit about the selection process as we move through that. And I think in order to really discuss the selection process, I think we should talk about who is a CTEC-P AST? What are the marks of a good CTEC-P AST? What are the signals of someone who is, how do you know this person is a AST in the Coffee Technicians program. And I would like to describe that to you. A Coffee Technicians program AST, they have career experience. They have time in the field fixing other people's coffee equipment. They have either worked as an owner of their own service company, they have served as a coffee technician for someone else or a company, they've worked for a manufacturer providing technical support. So those who are CTEC-P ASTs, you know that they have actual career experience in the field. Compared to some of our other programs, we have to always be concerned about safety. Those who are putting learners in situations where safety is an issue, we want to make sure that they know that they also have real life experience in the field. A Coffee Technicians program, AST, has third-party credentials. They either have some academic degrees in a subject related to coffee technology. They have credentials from their local government or regulatory body related to things like safety, plumbing, electrical, gas connections, those kinds of things. That varies. Some countries there's a certificate for HVAC, so heating and cooling, air conditioning, refrigeration. You can count on a CTEC-P AST having some third-party credentials that affirm their knowledge of the subject matter and their commitment to safety. A Coffee Technician's AST isn't just smart. They don't just know it, they know how to teach it. They know how to conduct classroom education, which is a lot different than just standing next to an employee and doing on-the-job training. So a Coffee Technicians program, AST, has training experience. They love sharing their knowledge with others and creating those learning opportunities for them. A Coffee Technicians program, AST, is active in their community. And by this, I do mean the coffee community. They are actively looking for ways to share what they know. They are also committed to growing the Coffee Technicians program. The Coffee Technicians program, AST, is not someone who just wants it on their business card. They want to be active in offering classes and generating certificates for learners, helping them succeed. So a CTEC-P AST is active. A Coffee Technicians program AST is also someone who comes highly recommended by their peers. They have a reputation for being safe. They have a reputation for being knowledgeable. They have a reputation for being clear and open with the information that they have learned from years of experience in the coffee industry, particularly supporting coffee machines. So that is an overview of the marks of a AST in the Coffee Technicians program. So you'll find that the application process is pointed to those same marks of a qualified AST in the Coffee Technicians program. And here's what the selection process looks like for that. And I use the word selection. What's important to understand is that it's kind of an invitation process. Those of you who are familiar with our other certificate programs, like the Coffee Skills program, will know that it's kind of a take, then teach program. You take the professional, and then that's what authorizes you to be able to teach the rest of the courses in the module. And that is not where we are with this program. This program is being launched. Many of these courses don't yet exist. So to identify qualified ASTs to help launch this program, we devised an application that helps us make sure that they meet all of those marks that we saw before. There is no practical exam for you to go take to become qualified to teach this. We have a process by which we review with a group of people, typically between 7 or 9 people, representing staff, members of the coffee technology community, and other ASTs, to apply some scores and take a look at the application and determine who is ready to be invited and who is not yet ready to be invited. The answer at the end of this process is not yes or no, it's yes or not yet. If it's a not yet, we help you understand what we would like to see more of before inviting you into the rest of the process. So after today's webinar, you will be able to visit sca.coffee under our education and programs section. Kimberly, if you're available to maybe paste the link to that in the chat window, that would be excellent. You will find some of the information I've shared with you here today, and you will find that the application itself will be open on March 4th. So there's an application period from March 4th to March 25th. Once the applications are complete, compiled, we then put them before a review committee to apply some scores for us to build a list of people to invite to the next step in the process. We extend those invitations because remember, you still have to accept the invitation. You are the one who is going to be signing a license agreement, paying a license fee. And so we want to extend that invitation, but it's up to you whether or not you're going to accept that invitation. Then we enter the authorization process. Every authorized SCA trainer goes through our AST course. This is how you find out about how our certificate programs work in detail, how to administer courses, learn about our expectations of delivery, and build a network with other trainers right off the bat. That is now being delivered via distance learning. We have put through more than 130 new ASTs through a new distance learning version of the AST course that is more rigorous, more relevant, and more valuable than I think it was before. And we have a great time. We're getting really good reviews from that. Then you sign a license agreement. Then it's time to get started. We distribute the curriculum and you start designing your courses from there. That's a look at the process, start to finish. Today's webinar, application period, review, invitation. You accept the invitation, you'll go through the rest of the authorization process and get prepared to be an effective member of our training network. So, as I mentioned before, it's a big program. You're probably tired of seeing this particular graphic, but it's important. As compared to our other programs, CTEC-P ASTs, Coffee Technicians Program ASTs, if you're going to teach one of the core modules, you teach all of the core modules. So this isn't a situation where you become an AST and you teach electrical, or you become an AST and you teach water and preventive maintenance. You teach all 3 of those. So we are looking for people with qualifications to teach all 3. Why? As I mentioned earlier, there's going to be a lot of cross-module prerequisites. We also know that the electromechanical nature of hydraulics and electrical together present a situation where we know that a person who's qualified to teach one of these is qualified to teach all 3. So you would be engaging in your base AST license and then all 3. Those of you who are joining this call who are already ASTs, you would be adding all 3 of these modules to your license should you be invited to do so. all three. Now, the ancillary modules, something that makes them unique is that you can get a single license for these. It is highly likely that we may have somebody who's quite qualified to do the copy machines, but maybe not the core modules. Somebody who's well-versed in history, distribution of copy machines, copy preparation, and operations management. So those are single licenses with their own levels of eligibility and requirements to meet in order to deliver those. Those of you who are joining this call, who are already ASTs in the Copy Skills program, who have your license in barista skills and brewing, you have both of those. It's a special opportunity for you to deliver coffee preparation. If you're interested in that, please email me directly and I'll tell you about that. So again, the base CTEC-P AST license comes with these three modules. It's important for us to talk about the money when it comes to those modules. This is what the pricing looks like for AST license fees. We advertise our fees in two currencies, US dollars and euros. Your 3-year license, your base AST license is $1,800 or 1,500 euros. And then the bundle, this could easily say that they are $200 each here, but we've put them together here. This amount is less than they would be individually. Because we're asking you to take all three at one time, there's a slight discount as compared to what those would be individually. For example, the core, like a normal module license would be $240, but because you're getting all three together, you discounted that down to $200 per each. That is what the pricing is for this. When is this license fee due? This license fee is due 2 weeks before you would take a seat in the AST course. Your effective date of your license doesn't start until after the AST course, and when you're so you don't lose time. You don't lose a month or a month and a half there. But in order to secure your spot in an AST course, those fees would be paid by then. So that's a little bit of information on the fees. This information about the fees is included in the application information guide. The application information guide, which you will find at the link that Kimberly has shared with you, also includes a link to the application itself, along with that guide. So I want to point out that when you arrive to the application form itself, there is an opportunity for you to complete the form in different languages. Currently, it is available in English, Spanish, and Korean. I have a volunteer who is also in the process of making this available in German, and I'm looking forward to that. It is okay for you to complete this application in a language that is comfortable for you. Again, you can complete this application in a language that is comfortable for you. To operate as an authorized SCA trainer, you do need to have some functional understanding of English because so many of our systems and platforms are in English. So it's good for you to have some, but I also want you to be comfortable delivering or sharing information about yourself in a language that's comfortable with you. We will try to translate it. If there's something that's confusing to us, we'll clarify it. But we'll take on the burden of the translation so that you don't have to do that. Okay. So the application information guide is very important for you to review before you start the application. This application is not just gathering a little bit of information about you and answering a few questions. It also involves gathering letters of recommendation. It also involves submitting a sample lesson plan. So this submission, this application to the program, involves you doing some work in advance of you actually filling out the application itself. Kimberly shared that link. You can find this and download it there, and then pose any questions that you may have along the way. So let's dig into what you can expect from the application itself. I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview, but don't feel like you have to take screenshots of what I'm doing or try to take pictures or write down anything. This is all in the application guide as well. The first section, we need to find out who you are, where you are. This is a global program. I am so excited that in 2020 we were able to identify close to 20 new authorized trainers in the coffee technicians program, representing 11 countries on 5 continents. And I'm really hoping that in this process we end up with even more countries and continents represented. And so we're going to just gather some information from you on that. Next, we need to know about your work history. As I mentioned, authorized trainers in the coffee technicians program have career experience. We're very interested in knowing the dates, times, locations, employers, companies where you have had career experience related to subjects that touch coffee technology. Some of you on this call may have experience in technology that has nothing to do with coffee, and that's great, right? Because of those basic concepts of electrical and hydraulics and some of those other common technologies that go across industries. So we're looking for detailed information about your career experience as it relates to coffee technology. Then there's a section or two that are all about credentials. We want to know what kind of licenses you hold, what kind of academic degrees you hold, or certificates that you hold from other third parties, regulatory bodies in your country. This could be related to adjacent technologies. You might have an HVAC certificate. You might have some other kind of certificate that you have. You may have completed several hours of safety training. We want to have all of the details related to that, including those academic degrees. So the word certificate can mean several different things. And there's an academic type certificate that comes from an institution. And then there are certificates that are given out like organizations like ours. And we're interested in both of those. We would like to know about your experience when it comes to sharing your knowledge with others by training, designing instructional experiences, creating your own courses. Show us where you have taught other people how to do something. Some of you may have experience training something that's not even related to coffee technology. We want to know about that. We want to know that you're comfortable designing experiences for students in the classroom and can help them achieve their learning objectives. And we're going to ask you to prove it. There will be a prompt in the application guide that you will see. It's all about electrical concepts. We would like for you to submit a sample lesson plan about how you would address those learning objectives within a larger course. You're not designing a full course, you're designing a piece of a course. We're looking for a sample lesson plan. We want to see your level of comfort when it comes to designing an experience and how you organize your thoughts in order to deliver that experience. So you will be submitting a sample lesson plan. I have given you a template to help you work on that in advance in the application information guide, and you'll take pieces of that and paste them into the application itself. This is a look at that sample template. You don't have to use this template in life, but it's a tool that we've given you to help organize your thoughts, and it includes the prompt for the lesson. Please do not submit a lesson plan for anything other than the topic and the learning objectives that are given to you in the application information guide and on the website. Some of you will want to also share with us some of your other experience. Many of you may have a recording that exists of you delivering a lesson. You may have some audio of you sharing knowledge. And if you have that, please share. There's going to be a space for you to leave us a link to review that. So, don't be afraid to tell us how good you are at what you do. That's what we want to hear. We also want to know your goals. We want to know how you participate in the coffee community. What are your intentions as an authorized trainer? This is a space where you can really let us know what your dreams are, what you're planning on doing as far as offering courses, a facility that you're going to build or use. Please tell us all of that information. Again, a coffee technicians program authorized trainer is active and is committed to being part of the community of coffee and growing this program. So we want to know what your intentions are, what your goals and your hopes and your dreams are for participating in this program. As I mentioned, authorized trainers in the coffee technicians program come highly recommended. You will be asked to gather at least 2 letters of recommendation. One letter is meant to speak to your subject matter expertise. This is somebody who knows you, who can speak to the fact that you know what you're talking about. That's letter number 1. Letter number 2, we are looking for someone to tell us about what a good trainer you are. So do 2 different types of letters from people who can affirm and confirm your subject matter expertise and your ability to share your knowledge through training. There are special instructions for that. It involves sending that to a certain email address. We will confirm receipt from the sender and also let you know that it has been received. Long play. Those are the components of the application. Okay, so profile information, we're going to ask about your work history, your career history, credentials, certificates, degrees. We're going to want to know about your training ability. We're going to know what your experience has been, and we want you to show us what you're capable of. We want to know what your plans are. We want to know that you're going to be active, and we want to see what that looks like. And then we want to know that you come highly recommended. There are no rules for who sends those letters. I do want to make that clear. We don't judge the stature of who sends that, but we want to make sure that you have gathered and submitted those to us from 2 different people. Okay. I covered a lot of information. I talked straight for almost an hour. I hope that the subtitles worked well. I'm used to seeing faces in our AST course, and I can tell if you're following or not. So we've reached the part where we're going to do some Q&A. We have about 8 minutes until the top of the hour. And so let's take a look at the questions here. And it looks like, Kimberly, it looks like I can see the questions. So let's see if I do this. I see that the license price is higher than last year. That is correct. Yeah. So during the 2020 year, we did 3 rounds at a special price for this, and that is correct. That was special for the first year. We were very clear about how that was a 1-year situation, and we completed those 3 rounds, and yes, it's going to be the normal price. And so that was discounted. A lot of that discount had to do with the fact that a lot of these people were going to become ASTs before the program was launched. And now that we're starting to get curriculum out, it's going to be the regular price as our standard AST license. So thank you for that question, Andrea. See here, where will the training take place? That's a great question, Diego. And I think I'm assuming that you're talking about the training. I'm assuming that you're asking about where training can take place, but I'm going to answer a couple different questions in case I'm not getting your question correct. Authorized trainers in the Coffee Technicians program can teach the course anywhere that meets the minimum requirements of the course. Each curriculum comes with a set minimum list of parts, components, machines, space, safety considerations. An AST can deliver that course anywhere. You do not have to deliver it at a premier training campus, although I think you will have a good experience if you do. You can teach it anywhere. You just have to make sure that it meets the minimum requirements. The quality of the venue is the responsibility of the trainer. That's part of our license agreement. It comes down to you to make sure that it meets our standards, and we hold you responsible for that. Now, if you're asking about where the training like the AST course would take place, that's done via distance learning. Otherwise, as I've mentioned, you do not have to complete a training in order to apply at this point to become an authorized trainer in the CTEC. Diego, if I didn't do a good job of answering that question, please maybe rephrase it, and I'll see if I can do a better job with that. Let's look here. When will it start? This is from Khalid. Welcome, thank you for being here. When will it start? And I have 9 years experience and I'm in the UAE. Awesome, welcome. We have just launched in the past month the first course, Hydraulic Foundations. Electrical Foundation is soon to follow, then Hydraulic Intermediate, Electrical Intermediate, Water and Preventive Maintenance Foundation. Over the next 6 to 8 months, we're going to be releasing programs. I'm happy to announce that the first set of non-beta course certificates were sent today. 24 Hydraulics Foundation certificates generated by 2 ASTs in the first month. So it's starting, and courses are going to be released as we finish them throughout 2021. So, Lazar, okay, sorry if I missed, are any materials included, books, notebooks, etc.? No. The curriculum itself includes learning objectives, test questions, resources for you, and several points of instruction. However, the design of handouts, lesson plans, slides, handbooks, things that you would provide your learners, those are designed by the AST and are your product. That's what sets you apart from other trainers, is the quality of your instruction and the materials that you share with them doing that. So the materials we share are guides for you, and you develop the experience. Okay, it looks like some of you had some internet problems and maybe joined late. No worries. You are going to be able to watch a recording of this. That will be distributed to everyone who registered. So if you showed up late, it's okay. You're going to be able to watch the video. If you have trouble understanding me, you'll be able to send me an email and we can work through the translation there and make sure that we answer your questions. Great question here from Khalid about specific models of machines or in general. It is important to note that the program is designed to expose learners to more than just one machine. So the curriculum itself so far addresses both espresso machines and batch brewers. Also, it's an expectation for many of these classes for you to have a multi-boiler espresso machine and one that uses a heat exchanger. So exposing them to those different technologies. So the curriculum requires you to have more to expose your students to and for you to have that experience as well. Okay, looks like one that I will follow up with afterwards. Okay, that captures all of the questions that I'm seeing in the question window. Kimberly, am I missing anything? Any other raised hands or questions that may have come up that I didn't catch?
No, I think you've covered everything, Ben.
Okay, wonderful. Again, this is not the end of the conversation. And so if you would like to reach out with any questions, feel free to do so at the email address you see on the screen. I'd be happy to help. Dongjan, I see that you're contacting me, and I'm definitely going to follow up with you. Yeah, we'll have that conversation. So I want to thank everyone for joining us. Watch for this recording to be sent to you. Don't forget that applications open on March 4th. If you or someone you know feels like would be a good fit for this, I hope that you apply or share this information with others. The video that we send you, feel free to share it. We want to make sure that as many people as we would like for as many people as possible to see that and have a chance to apply for this. So with that, I think we will bring this, there's been several questions come in. All right, so I'm gonna answer some more questions. If you need to go because we've reached the hour limit, have a wonderful day. I'm gonna answer a few more of these questions while we're here and then go on. So let's see here. Do I have to be a member of a guild to be an AST? No, you do not. In fact, your AST license comes with a membership. It's not meant to take the place of any membership you already have or give anybody a credit, but it guarantees that as long as you have an active AST license, you're a member of this organization. Now, I encourage you to be a member of the guild, but you do not have to be a member of the guild. It makes great sense to be a member of the guild, and we would welcome you into it, and I think you could add a lot to it and get a lot from it, but you do not have to be. All right. So now we have some people very interested. That's good. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you, Norbert. We'll see you online tomorrow. Hey, Hugo. Good to see you. All right. Have a wonderful day, Dennis. Great. Ilias. Awesome. Well, I'm going to bring this bus to a stop. This recording will go out soon. Have a wonderful day, and I hope to see all of you in a CTEC-P course someday soon. Bye.